Activists in Namibia have termed the offer of financial restitution by Germany as insufficient. Germany officially acknowledged committing a genocide during its colonial occupation of Namibia. The bloody invasion has been described as the first genocide of the 20th century, almost wiping out the Herero and Nama populations. CGTN's Julie Shaya has that report.
Germany occupied Southwest Africa, known today as Namibia, between 1884 and 1915. The occupation descended into a bloody war between 1904 and 1908, when the Herero and Nama tribes stood up against their colonizers.
This was a major shock to this rather unrealistic expectations that over time the indigenous population could be somehow coaxed out of their rights, out of their land, out of their possessions, and that they would be peacefully converted into a docile population of workers, of agricultural laborers.
Unable to quell tensions, German ground troops resorted to mass killings.
Since the Herero could not be beaten on the battlefield, the war descended into an attempt to kill as many Herero, not only armed combatants, but also women, children, non-combatants.
Tens of thousands of Herero and Namas were wiped out. Those who survived were driven into the Kalahari Desert. Later, they were placed in concentration camps and exploited for labor.
A horrific effect on the indigenous population, on the survivors, not only on the survivors of the fighting, but on the survivors of those Herero and Nama. Most estimates say that 80% of the Herero population perished and something like 50% of the Nama population.
The trauma is still too much to bear for descendants of these tribes.
The Germans gave my grandmother hardship. She ran alone. She grew up among foreign people and was forced to speak a foreign language. And we are living in poverty because of what they did to us at the time. Now we want them to restore our dignity. Reparations must come, and we want our land back.
The former colonial masters finally admitted to the atrocities after 100 years. Germany agreed to pay $1.3 billion in aid, which will go to land reform, rural infrastructure, healthcare and training projects.
It's an act that should be seen as symbolically significant, at least I hope that, because finally Germany has admitted its responsibility and its historical guilt regarding the war in Namibia.
Most Herero and Nama looking for financial restitution believe the deal is pointless.
I don't expect anything from this negotiation because they are suspect from day one. The way they are crafted, this negotiation says that every Namibian is affected. It is denying the fact that the Namas and Hereros were affected. So these negotiations are flawed from the beginning to the end.
Restitution is at least bringing the person back to the position that he or she could have been, was it not for the genocide. Compensation, what have they lost? It's the issue of land, the issue of movable and non-movable properties, the issue of identity, culture. So we are rejecting the agreement or the declaration because it doesn't speak to the needs of the affected communities.
The chapter of this painful moment in history is still far from over. The Namibian government has accepted the deal, but Parliament hasn't. The descendants of those affected by what's been termed as the first genocide of the 20th century are demanding a fresh start to negotiations to put their concerns on the table. Julie Shaya, CGTN, Cape Town, South Africa.